Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
What the heck was
I
that?
got an itchy nose. My nose is all itchy. Weather's
come
weird
on,
today.
Man. Yeah, the weather is weird today.
It's all overcast and it's supposed to be like almost 100 degrees later. What's going on?
So hot, unlike these star ratings, which are on the precipice of being lukewarm, Larson, because we took damn near forever to get these things out. What's with us? Are we turning into those other guys?
No, it's my fault because I was out of town for part of the weekend. And so I was tired yesterday. Got the Raw recap in. Doing them today.
All these excuses I'm hearing, Larson. We're on the verge of being
the reasons.
We're on the verge of being those other guys, man. We need these things to be hot and fresh. Regardless,
We still gotta wait 3 days for those other guys to get their star ratings up. We are hot and fresh in comparison still.
It's going to be borderline mid-September by the time we get those other guys' star ratings anyways.
Yeah, that's true.
Where do you want to start, Larson?
We got to start with the first match because that's what we usually do. Go in chronological order with these matches. So let's start with, that'd be Bronson Reed taking on Roman Reigns and losing. Steve's Cat, what do you give this match?
I give this match 2 stars. No, I give this match, hold on, let me get my thing here. Here it is. 3.5 stars. I thought this was perfectly entertaining, if a bit slow. They had the whole dramatic angle, which lasted the entire first freaking hour of the pay-per-view premium live event, which is a bit much, but nevertheless, made Bronson Reed look really good. I like the bit where Roman Reigns tried to spear him, and it was like he hit just a brick wall. That was pretty fun.
Yeah, that was a cool moment.
But yeah, I mean, kind of, it was a standard bloodline type match. Kind of takes its time, but I thought there was a lot of good stuff in this. So I gave it 3.5 stars.
I went a bit lower. There was a lot of good stuff, but it was also about twice as long. The whole thing, about twice as long as it really needed to be. This match plus the post-match angle did not need to take up nearly an hour of the show. Bronson looked good. Would look better if he'd won. So I gave it 3 stars. It was a little slow, a little plodding, especially the beginning. And yeah, there were some cool moments interspersed, but it was too much. It was too much for the level of action we got.
All right.
That's how I felt, at least. Next up, for the WWE Tag Team Championships, SmackDown Tag Titles, we had the Wyatt Six defending those titles successfully against Street Profits. So they introduced somewhat out of nowhere this idea the Street Profits weren't on the same page for this match. It hasn't been teased before, at least of late. Bo Dallas said to them, we'll see after you lose if you're really the family you claim to be. And they kind of fast forward, I thought, to having them kind of being somewhat at odds before the loss even happened. It was kind of a weird story beat that was brought up for like the first third of this match, then dropped entirely. The match itself was fine, but I thought in terms of advancing the stories, it was a bit jumbled. I gave it 2 3/4 stars. It was all right, but from a creative standpoint, it didn't really make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, I actually went a little bit lower than you. It was 2.5 stars because, what the hell was that? It was, honestly, I gave this an extra half star simply because of those cool Borderlands. I'm not even a Borderlands guy. Kind of find the game a bit on the redundant side, Larson. It's one of those grindy games.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the grindy type games.
But the art direction's really cool. I really like the cell shading stuff and the comic book look feel. Anyways, getting back to the actual match, the Borderlands match. This was confusing. And I don't really sitting there during a match and wondering why they're not addressing a certain story beat that they had in the first place, which is, as you mentioned, the Street Profits not being on the same page to start things off. They really just sort of dropped that. But it's not like they told a story out of it. They just ignored it. They were like, there's no big revelatory moment where they were like, oh man, look at us. Now we're working together. We got our shit together. No, it was just, they just turned into a regular tag match. And it had, your standard sort of Triple H, how are we going to keep the Street Profits, I guess, looking strong? So let's go ahead and have some Wyatt family interruptions here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I gave this 2.5 stars. Was not the best effort, especially considering this is a whole other conversation. But I feel like the Wyatts just stick out like a sore thumb because you think of all the other legitimate awesome tag teams, and Joe Gacy's awesome.
Here's the thing. I get what you're saying. And so you really need to focus on telling interesting stories to offset. That's the word I'm looking for. That. But they're not even really doing that with the Wyatts. I mean, they just want the tag titles because they want the tag titles. What does that have to do with their larger story, their larger goals, their larger mission, which we don't even know what that is at this juncture because what they set out to do seemingly initially was completely dropped.
Yeah. So, I don't know, maybe a different conversation for a different day, but yeah, the Wyatt Six holding those tag titles. I think I get the idea, like, oh, it's the tag team that isn't like the others. They're not the like razzle dazzle, crazy cool, like let's jump all over the place and do really cool stuff, wrestle guys. We're the supernatural people, and that's who all those other tag teams are trying to take down. I think I understand the idea.
I think what they're trying to do too is the bond that the Wyatt share go beyond being able to wrestle well together. I think that's the idea.
Yeah.
And I don't know, at the same time, you look like Motor City Machine Guns have been a tag team for like 20 years.
Yeah, right.
As opposed to Gacy and Loomis, like 8 months.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, I understand the idea that they forged this bond, and it runs deeper than friendship or merely tag partners. Mm-hmm. But you're trying to tell me that 20 years of chemistry can't overcome that in one match?
Yeah.
It's a bit much.
It's a bit much. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on. That was a tangent there.
Let's move on. Let's talk about the Women's Intercontinental Championship match. Becky Lynch successfully defending against Nikki Bella. What'd you give this one, Steve?
Man, I've got to preface this by saying this, man. I love Becky Lynch. She's put on wonderful matches. Like, I gave her and Lyra, they're up. Becky and Lyra have a couple of match of the year candidates. This is not that, though. I gave this 2.25. This match barely gets past the "this happened" stage. The whole feud with the Nikki Bella thing, I mean, I get it. Nikki Bella's a name, and I appreciate what the Bellas did in terms of bringing a bunch of eyeballs over thanks to the Total Divas and Total Bella stuff. But, yeah, there seems to be some ring rust there, perhaps. There's a bunch of spots in this where I was like, that really didn't work too well. So, yeah, not the best match here with these two. So I gave it 2.25 stars.
Copy paste for me, 2.25 as well. Yeah, there was a couple spots in particular that were pretty clunky. There was that kick that Nikki was doing out of the corner and Becky was nowhere near. And I think it was supposed to land because at first Becky did this.
Yeah, she did that. Like
And
Nikki
then
and the
sold
rack
it,
attack.
yeah.
Nikki and her finisher need to get on the same page because I feel like it's been multiple times now where it's like, okay, how do I get somebody in position to lift them up for the rack attack? And maybe it's on the person she's working with. And they're like, wait, what am I supposed to do again? Oh, I need to be kind of in AA position. I don't know. It kind of just didn't work, but hey, maybe next time, Nikki Bella.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Donnybrook match. Rusev defeat Sheamus. Sheamus' own stipulation match. So the first half of this match was kind of whatever. It was kind of middle of the road, no DQ, no holds barred type stuff. And really, once they started incorporating the Tower of Barrels in the corner, then business picked up a decent amount. So I guess if you kind of average all that out, I land on 3.5 stars. I thought the second half was pretty solid.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, the first half was kind of like nothing to really write home about.
Wow. Yeah, no, I went higher than that. I went 4.25. I thought by the time this was all said and done, I was like, holy shit, these guys are really beating the crap out of each other. They're embracing the Donnybrook aspect of it. Like you said, halfway into it. But yeah, no, I thought this was a ton of fun by the end, and it really picked up, and I thought it had a good finish too.
All right. I feel like we're going to diverge quite a bit in this next one. John Felix Anthony Cena defeated Logan Paul. You get to go first, Steve.
I thought this was fucking awesome. I think Cena, it boggles my mind that, like, part of being John Cena bad guy apparently is I got to put on bad matches. Or I got to put on insignificant matches or just really short matches or whatever. And now that we got John Cena good guys, last couple matches seems like they might be some bangers because I thought this was an absolute banger. I loved all the throwbacks, all the whatever story they're trying to tell there. If it's John Cena just shouting out opponents of his past.
I mean, that's what he said at the media. Well, it's not media availability, the post show. That's what he said. Pretty much.
Yeah. Or if there's something larger going on there where it's like, oh, Logan Paul, you're basically a creator wrestler. I can do that too using my opponents of the past. Which I thought is a good, even if the auteur himself, John Cena, didn't say that was a situation, I think you could extrapolate that. Could be one interpretation of this match. Loved it. Thought it was great. 4.5 stars.
So while I appreciated the incorporating other people's moves, whether it be for some sort of storytelling mechanic or just strictly to shout out, as Cena said, wrestlers have had some impact on his career that he doesn't think he's going to be able to be across the ring from during his retirement run here. I thought the idea was really good. I wish it would coalesce in some way that actually led to the finish of the match. If it was like a game of one-upsmanship, Paul does a move. Oh, Cena says, I can do one better. Back and forth, until Logan Paul, as John Cena said, wrestling is going to ruin you. Where at a certain point, Logan Paul, because he doesn't have the experience of John Cena, just can't keep up. I felt like that would really coalesce that story a bit more and really brought it home. Instead, it felt more like, let's just shout out a bunch of wrestling moves, which is fine. It was fun. And the story going into it, pretty meh. You know, this is a fun wrestling match, storytelling aspect of it, whether it's the meta thing about the moves or not. Nothing really about it, while it was fun, really hit home with me on an emotional level. So I land on 3 3/4 stars. Fun match, but for me, it didn't feel like it was much more than that.
There you go.
All right, World Heavyweight Championship 4-way match. You had Seth Rollins defending against CM Punk, LA Knight, yeah, and main event Jey Uso, yeet. Again, a fun match that didn't feel like, in my mind, really coalesced as well as I was hoping. You know, there was points where seemingly randomly they were like, yes, let's work together. And then seemingly when they were on the verge of working together and getting something done, no, we're not working together anymore. As opposed to, all right, we have Seth laid out. Now it's time for us to do that. And I understand that's part of the story, is at the end of the day, the egos get in the way and they can't work together to fight Seth. But I just kind of felt like the layout of it could have been a little bit better and a little bit more dramatic. Again, a decently wrestled match. The finishing angle with Becky I thought was really solid. I gave it 3.5 stars.
I gave it 4. I think a lot of what you said is sort of where I'm coming from as well. I just think it was a really well wrestled match, and I actually appreciate the story of 3 guys who really can't get it out of their own way. We got to get this thing off of Seth Rollins, and yes, there's totally shades of the Death Rider stuff there, but it's like we got to get rid of this guy, and they're all on the same page, and all of a sudden Jey Uso just does, hits a super kick. He's like, I can't really help myself. I'm out here. I got Roman in my head. So I appreciate that everybody kind of is coming at this with their own kind of perspective and their own way of approaching this match. And I thought they effectively told that story. So I went ahead and gave it 4 stars because I thought it was a really well wrestled match. And I thought the ending was awesome. I thought the Becky reveal was great. We were all wondering, who's going to be the 4th man? Who's it going to be? And nobody in our comments anyway suggested it was going to be Becky, from what I could tell, at least on the YouTube side. Mm-hmm. And so for my money, that's a pretty good surprise when everybody's thinking, it's going to be Ricky Saint, it's going to be Ethan Page, it's going to be somebody from NXT, it's going to be somebody else, going to be returning Karrion Kross. No, it's right there in front of us. And in fact, ages ago, we were like, when Becky first turned heel, could she join Seth Rollins and his group? Well, yes, she did. It just took a couple more months, and now she's there, and they're setting up whatever this mixed tag thing is. So I liked it. I thought it was good. Gave it 4 stars.
There it is.
All right. Well, let us know what you guys rated all these matches in the comments below. Remember, the quicker you put your star ratings in the comments, the more relevant they are, because around these parts, the fresher they are, the better they are. It's going to do it. See you guys around.
Goodbye.